Welcome, welcome, welcome to the No Faces Comic Chat. I'm your host, Bub, and with me, as always, the one, the only. When they made the mold, they made him, they broke the mold, and all rejoiced. DS Comics.
What is up? Good to be here.
Glad to have you. And joining us in just out of pure generosity and perhaps scientific curiosity, we have Roger, aka Metarog.
Well, greetings, Four Color fans. Great to be back here 2 weeks in a row. Or is it 3 weeks in a row? We're on a roll.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. Oh, man. All right. Well, we are going to be talking tonight about, what is it, Roger? What are we talking about tonight?
We're going to be talking about DS's unboxing.
Oh, DS is and his unboxer wares. Yes. But what else are we talking about?
Oh, I forgot what you put as the title, but reprints. We're going to be talking about reprints and why they're in our collection, I think.
That's right. Very good. And what's our team name this fine evening, DS?
The original genuine copies.
That's good. I like that.
The genuine copies.
Pretty close. We're them there authentic replicas. Well, genuine copies will be next week's. Hey, look at this. Cal Cap'n Comics is in the house. Check out my last video for some Cap love. It's all PG until you get to his channel. Ahoy, mates and mermaids, he says. Oh, I tell you, I'm so exhausted. Roger, will you take it away?
What, you want me to shout out this chat?
If you would be so kind.
Okay. Well, you talked about Captain Comics. Of course, Unruly Simeon, one of the chat superstars here in the community. Las Cruces 1971 is in here, of course, from New Mexico.
Yes, and what he said, double goes for me. Unless he said that you owe him like a avocado or something. And
no,
fresh out.
He did in 1971.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's a youngster. Speaking of youngsters, we got your buddy Chris Barrett in here.
He's your buddy. He's your buddy.
It's been a battle. It's been a while since we've been battling with him.
Yes.
And
it's been a battle since we've wilded with him as well.
True. Here's a man that we don't have to battle with. One of the nicest guys here on YouTube, Jason from Heroes to Icons. How you doing, my friend? And of course, our esteemed guest host extraordinaire, Jambo Comics, who just had an amazing haul of goodness that you have to check out, is on here as well. DS Comics, of course, is in here. William Smallwood, very loyal here to the chat. And of course, speaking of chat superstars, the Jackson Roy Kirk is in the house.
Roy Kirk.
And his antithesis, Comic Mag Musings, is also Bill is in here. So you know that we're going to get some spicy comments from those two.
Oh, that's a spicy meatball.
That's a spicy meatball. Oh yeah, and and we got, of course, one of the guys that I saw even before I was on YouTube, Mike from Area 51, all the way from the North Mountie Yukon territory somewhere.
Hey. Now they may have a lot of hobbies up there in the frozen northwest, that is. But mounting Yukon, what'd you call them? They don't do that.
Yukon territory.
They don't do that. If you're sniffing around the igloo looking for some of that action, you're going cold tonight.
Oh man. Okay, whatever you say. And Chris Barrett says, in all honesty, he and Bub have more in common than myself and Metarog. Probably true, because I'm an older fogey, and you guys are probably a lot younger than I am, amongst other things. And we got Ben Compton jumping in right under the wire while I finish here. Take it away, Bub.
All right. Well, I'm eating a cookie, so let's hear from DS for a minute.
Yeah, so we're doing reprints, I guess. And I had this box and I was going to open it. It's been here a few days, and I said, you know what, this might be appropriate for the show, so let me just open it on the show. So I sort of pre-opened it, and we can see what's in here. If you want to do a little unboxing here, I bought this on eBay for $50. Well, let's see if there's anything good. But I'm optimistic because they used a good mailer and blue tape.
What is that code word on there? 94. What is that?
I don't know. 94 George.
Huh?
I don't know.
Maybe he may be the next quarterback.
All right, this is a low grade, but it's a cool book. It was sort of an impulse buy, and I was like, "Hey, that looks good for $50. Why not?" Ready? Drum roll.
Oh,
There we go. A beat copy of Superman 100.
nice.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, you can see it's pretty rough.
Cool.
But yeah, it's in a Mylar. I'll have to check it and see if it's complete and kosher and everything, but a presentable little cheapo copy of it. And I figured this would be good for reprints because the notoriety of this book, any value that it does have, is because it is the 100th spectacular issue. So they put covers of 1, 25, 50, and 75 on this cover. So there's sort of like an original second print of the first cover.
Cool.
Say that again, only in reverse.
I can't even remember what I said. But, yeah, so it's got Superman 1's cover on the cover of Superman 100. So that's sort of like the second time this cover's been used legitimately as opposed to just straight up reprints. So that's kind of a cool factor. And then it's got 25, and then it's got 50 and 75. And I don't know, overall, it's just a cool looking, I think it's 1955, so very early into the code. And yeah, I don't know. So there you go. Superman 100, sort of a reprint of the cover on the cover.
We're loving it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, sometimes this goes with my philosophy. Sometimes you don't have to look stuff up or fret about it. Just take a risk, and if it feels like a good deal, or if it seems like a good deal, or it's a cool book, just be like, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a shot. So $50, done. Now, will I get $50 back out of it? I don't know, but I mean, I can't lose too much on a cool book like that, right? For $50. So yeah, sometimes you just gotta take a risk and use your gut and just pick up something cool and see what happens. That's what I did.
I like it.
Now you need the Batman companion to that.
Yeah, I know. That one doesn't sell for as much for some reason.
Is there a Batman companion? I didn't know.
Yeah.
That.
Batman 100, it's the same deal. They have 4 covers on it, and they have Batman 1 on there. Yeah, hey, Roger, if I see one for $50, I will buy it.
There you go. Right? Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, New World Order Comics was on top of that. I guess he guessed it.
That's biggie. Yeah.
Now let's be cover buddies.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Well, we can't get yours any more centered than that. So,
yeah, hold on.
No, we'll have glare. Don't apologize for it. Oh, look at that. Woo! Roger, your turn. Roger.
No, I think my first Superman is like in the 150s or 160s.
Oh, man, we found the one book Roger doesn't have.
Oh,
Christmas list. Christmas list, everybody.
I got a ton that I don't. Trust me.
Write it down, everybody. Here it comes. That's beautiful, DS. Love it.
Yeah, thanks. I would say just looking at it through the Mylar, probably like 1.8 range. Yeah, so I don't know. 1.8 range, presentable, and just a cool book for $50. I mean, look, a cool golden age book for $50. You almost don't even have to like know anything. If you think it's cool and it's golden age and it's $50, yes, it's worth it.
That's true.
That's sort of like the rule.
The golden rule. Nice. It's a 10.5. Chris Barrett is assured of that. He's going to go ahead and buy it from you at the 9.5 price.
Awesome. I'll put my PayPal in there. That'll be $1,500.
Oh, man. All right. So let's see what else we got here. Oh, so let's so here's a good example of some reprints, right? So this is the Demdare Original, and then this is the facsimile edition.
Cool.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, facsimile edition. They made a facsimile for $266.
They sure did, and they're proof.
Wow.
Yep. Made a facsimile for it, and so one reason that you may want, and the nice things about the facsimile, not that it's the first time they've ever done something like that. I mean, if you go all the way back to those treasuries, they had the original, like the DC treasuries of Superman 1, and they have all the original ads and stuff too. Yep. And some of the DC Masterpiece editions had original ads as well. So, but this one has original ads, original color, and also, just looks like it looks. But everything's the same except the price. They changed it to signify that it's $3.99 instead of $1. And they put that barcode at the bottom. And it's obviously a modern barcode. And they stamped it with Marvel at the bottom too, because this Marvel wasn't enough. I want to make sure you knew it was Marvel on every edge. So, and then there's the original. So one reason, because at some point I will get this slabbed. I just haven't got around to it. And then when I do, I'll still have a reader copy, because right now the only in my Uncanny X-Men run, the only books that I have slabbed are doubles. I have no book that I only have one of. Like, I'd love to get my my X-Men 101 slabbed, but I don't have a reprint or a double or anything of it, so I'll just wait. And if I get like a low-grade double of it, then I'll slab the better one,
Well, why do you you're waiting. You want to wait until you have the reprint in hand before you slab the original?
Not necessarily. It just drops, because it's an extra step. It drops lower on my list of things to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Yeah.
I have other books I already have doubles of, so let's go ahead and get those slabbed and then work our way through the collection on the keys. But the X-Men books, I want to have a nice reader run of it. So I don't really want to slab everything from 94 to probably, what is the first Bishop? Where's he come in?
252?
282 or
282, yeah.
Or 283. I can never remember which one.
282 is on the cover, but he only appears in that last panel, and 283 he's throughout. Yeah.
So 282 is like a cameo, but he's on the cover. That's the thing about cameos and first appearances. Like 180, I get for like Hulk 180. He's on the last panel. It's a cameo. I know there's all this BS argument about it, but I mean, that's a cameo. You can't really go anywhere else with it. But when you have him on the last panel and then he's also front and center on the cover, I mean, that's more of a massive appearance. He's right on the cover. I feel like that should be a more important book. And maybe it is. I don't keep up on prices of those. But
it is on prices. The market's decided that it's the bigger book.
Okay.
For sure, yeah.
I mean, that's the one I'd rather have, is the one with him on the cover.
Oh, me too. To me, first cover appearance trumps all.
Yeah, I sort of agree with that.
Trumps all. All right, so that's one reason why I collect reprints. Another one is that sometimes the cover is very different. So I'll collect them for, I like to have signatures sometimes on some books. So here's one that's Batman Adventures #1. It's a Funko Pop edition, right? And I went ahead and got it signed by Kevin Conroy as Batman. So the idea there is that I have a regular Batman #1, Batman Adventures, of course, #1, and I choose not to get that signed and just leave that in the bin because it's more of a Penguin cover, and this is a better Batman cover, and it looks more like the original animated series, but with a Funko twist. So I liked everything about the cover. It's a little bit harder to find this cover, especially in decent condition. So I went ahead and got this one, even though the interior fully reprints Batman #1. Batman Adventures #1.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. And with that, DS is going to go run and find all his Batman Adventure books.
Ooh.
I know, right?
Ooh.
Tats Comics is in the house.
Yeah. Tats
Oh,
in here.
no. Comic Mag Musings. Amazonians love Superman. Oh, with the $3. Boy, he knows what he's doing, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we haven't shown the old classic yet. And there she is. Welcome, Linda Carter, to the No Faces Comic Chat. We're glad to see your face and not ours.
You know it.
Yeah, and we'll give an extra. Yeah, he'll get 4 for the price of 3 there. There you go. Congratulations, Comic Mag Music. Thanks for keeping the lights on. We recently switched to gas lanterns here at the old BUB'S Comic Studio. It's been a little light the last couple months. So glad to have you. Thanks so much for helping out.
All right,
and DS is back.
Gotta get my morning coffee.
Morning coffee. My goodness. I'm afraid of the rant videos you're going to post later today.
You know what? I was going to do a video today. I picked up some cool stuff, and I was going to unbox this, which I didn't get to. And I got a nice AOK I want to show off. And I had to work over 34, 35 hours this past weekend. And then so today I'm off, and they actually needed me to come down there. So in the middle of the afternoon, I had to actually go back to work for a couple hours.
Oh, that's below.
Yeah, I know. So I'm way behind on everything. So.
Okay.
Wow. Well, we're glad that you made it to our show without napping through. So we appreciate that.
Oh, I always set my alarm for this show.
I have an alarm set, but it's for the old time, so it always freaks me out. I'm like, whoa, what? Oh no, we're late. It kind of reminds me to send the. Now I want to talk about that one. I want to talk about that reprint because these reprints. One of the things that I had a whole set of those, a ton of those, and I sold them off in a batch, and so I'm not going to ask you to open that because I think that one creases pretty easy.
Yeah,
silver.
Well, on these, so I've got another one. I'll just show it now since these are like the only 2 reprints I have. I picked these up. I picked up another one, but it wasn't as good, and it's gone now. But these are, like you said, Bub, these damage so easily. I don't know if it's the type of paper or the sort of foilish sort of cover paper they use or what, or they just weren't taken care of. But they damage so easily. They're extremely hard to find in like near mint plus or better, 9.6, 9.8. And if you get one that's like a 9.8 slabbed, it sells for a good amount of money. I think people don't realize that these are extremely hard to find at high grade. If you can get a 9.8, send one in and get a 9.8 on it, you can make a huge profit percentage-wise on what these cost. The problem is finding a high-grade one. So far, this is my stash of high-grade copies. These are both 9.8 contenders with no spine dents or dings on the corners or anything. So, yeah, I mean, they're just sort of little flips, but they're cool books. I haven't looked at these yet, but I will look. I've had one before, and they have like really bright colors inside. They're not like very authentic.
Well, they did more than just
stories in them. But yeah, these are super high grade, and I'm going to try to get 9.8s and then sell them. And you can pick these up cheap, but the problem is finding one that's a 9.8 contender.
Yeah, what's crazy about those was that they actually redid backgrounds as well. Changed total color schemes and redid backgrounds. Yeah. They're very, very different than the originals. All the ones with the milestone border were all specifically recolored to make them look more modern. You know how the older panels would have just like a blank pink background or something like that? So they went away from all that, and they added buildings and all kinds of stuff in the background. So they're very different reprints, and kind of to me, it's a collectible piece of its own. You know, it's not just a straight reprint, but it's got its own art in it.
Yeah, and even you can tell right from the covers. Like here's it's not going to show, but the colors on the guy is sort of like a drab olive green, and the background is sort of a little grayer. Yeah, and then on this one, they gave it's like a bright green and like a lighter whitish sort of background. So even right from the cover, the colors are enhanced. And yeah, I mean, it's not super authentic, but it's cool. It's got the foil outline and like this high-end sophisticated font up here. And
yeah, like a museum. It looks like a museum, man.
Yeah, and I think these are like basically the pamphlet versions of the hardcover reprints. You can get these in hardcover, and it has, a whole series of them in there. And then these are like the individual pamphlets versions that you can buy for each issue.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
And some have different printings too. several printings. If you look at the logo, some are red, some are like see-through, and some are white, like the little M up there in the top left.
Wasn't really. I don't know about that, but
yeah, there are. There's some. I think X-Men #1 has at least 3 printings. The Marvel milestone.
Yeah, I'll have to check out which ones these are. I'm not even sure.
Just don't open it.
Well, I'll have to open it just to check. At something like this, I don't page count.
There's a barcode on the back. You can check it via that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'll open the covers because I like to see the inside of a cover if I'm going to send it to get slabbed. But I probably won't go through every page. I might carefully on this one because I actually have never read Amazing Fantasy 15.
Sacrilege.
I know, it is sacrilege.
It's not really that great, honestly.
No, it's not at all.
Well, I mean, I've read a lot of Silver Age Spider-Man books, and I'm generally not a big fan of Silver Age Marvel writing generally. Very few of the early Spider-Man books are good for me. I really don't like them that much.
Yeah.
Bronze Age Spider-Man is awesome.
Yeah, comparatively, certainly it's a lot better.
And actually, when Spider-Man gets into the Romita era, I like it better. I don't even like Ditko art. I'm kind of, I don't know, in the minority, I guess, but I don't like the stories, and I don't like Ditko's art on Spider-Man. So
yeah, it's okay. I mean, I don't dislike it, but just because it is Spider-Man and he's kind of like he's not supposed to be super over muscular or anything, and Ditko, kind of draws him kind of scrawny sometimes. That's okay, but I think where Ditko shines is in the mystical comics, not so much in the superhero comics.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Now, speaking of things that are older but still not too bad, let's switch over to Roger.
Okay. Left-handed compliment. I'll take it.
Hey, that's the only hand I had left free. Go ahead, take it. Oh, but I also do want to say hello to Ranger Slides in the house. Tat Comics went to go cook some food. New World Order Comics, a.k.a. Biggie Shack, is in the house. Chris Bear is still loitering. Deadpool 2323 is here as well. Brett Bottomley has shown up.
Hey, Brett.
So, good to see you all. Slim Comics and more, and I'm sure many others are here as well. Thank you all for joining us. Roger is going to regale us with his disdain for reprints. Take it away, right? I thought this would be fun because I knew DS had a couple of reprints that he had possession of. I think he's already blown his wad in the first 30 minutes, but he did have a few, and I was aware of it. And I was like, finally, a topic DS is going to be able to show a bunch of books on.
Yeah, you know what? I had a whole stack of reprints, and I sold them all as a lot, 6 months ago to somebody. I think Big Will bought them off me.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I figured you had books and could talk, and I said, you know what? We're always talking about stuff DS hates. Well, now we'll talk about something Roger hates, and DS will show books. But what do you got, Roger, in your big? I know that you're a big reprint lover. Let's hear it.
Well, let me just say that when I was buying comics off the rack, I generally avoided the reprints. I just figured, hey, if I'm paying my hard-earned grass-cutting quarter, I want to get original stories. Okay, so I didn't buy a lot of reprints off the rack, right? But there are exceptions to that, of course, and so on and so forth. I want to go through that. This is one kind of reprint I don't mind buying because it is a compilation of some of the better reprint stories from a character. These are the Fireside reprints, and they have generally a forward, and they have text articles by Lee and some of the creators. So something that is repackaged like this in a very very sharp presentation, I don't mind buying, okay, at all. But a regular comic is a whole nother deal, of course. I just pulled these out because the facsimile, that I picked these up in a dollar bin some time back, I think these are actually pretty good. Again, the coloring is a little like sometimes oversaturated, but
it's rich. It's too rich.
Yeah.
a little too rich. Yeah, but but considering what these cost originally, to just I and you know me, I like to read the stories, and this is a really cool story. It's got its flaws, but it's a good deal. It's a good deal if you can pick this up for $1 or $2, right?
Yeah.
So I don't mind doing that. Now, Bub, you and I both have this situation here.
What a crock of crap.
Good old Marvel Tales. Love
it. My Spider-Man collection, unfortunately, I started buying it after the death of Gwen Stacy and Green Goblin. So when I went back to buy the back issues, these were already pricey, even back in the 80s, So I never had them. I've never had the originals, but these are pretty good, fill-ins. Since if you want to read, and like I do every once in a while, a series from whenever you started to years in, and there's this gap, it doesn't really work. So at least you have this to fill in. I also have the Hulk 2-parter in a Spider-Man annual, which is reprinted. So that's why I have this in my collection. Normally I would not, but because I have holes in my regular series of Spider-Man, that's why these are in my collection here.
All right, so you still need the original of 121 and 122?
Right, like I have from 102 through 400 of Spider-Man, but I think I'm missing 300, obviously, and I'm missing those two and the Hulk 2-parter that came before it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll keep my eye out for serviceable copies. So I didn't realize you didn't have 121 and 122.
Even like super beat copies are going to cost you at least $50-$60, and that to me that's just no way. That's ridiculous.
All right. Well, that's my goal for the year, Roger, to find you those.
No, it's okay, but it's okay.
No, I will succeed. Trust me.
It's okay. I'm not fishing for stuff. All I'm saying is that these are the rationales why I have reprints. That's the whole gist of here, right? This is another thing. DS, I think you'll find these cool. These are the DC digests that were put out mostly in the 70s and 80s.
Oh yeah.
And again, they reprint various issues. Now, for old man eyes like mine, this is not ideal, okay? Because it's about, it's a little bit bigger than half, probably 60% of a size of a comic. So yeah, the print is a bit small, but the upside is you can get a lot of reading in a very small package, and it's very easy to put to store because you can put 2 in one of these regular comic size things.
Nice.
So I do like picking these up because some of these issues are also kind of pricey. So
yeah, those are cool. I like those a lot.
Yeah, and these are really cool. These war issues, because since they're pretty much single issue stories, things like that, you don't really need to know a lot of background of the characters and the situations, and they're really good quick reads. Like when like if I'm just like, oh, I'm not sleepy tonight and I don't have something that I'm working on, I'll pick one of these up and just put it right up to my eyes and read it, because it's just cool little stories, Kubert art usually. So yeah, these little digests are really cool little reprints if you find them cheap. Again, some people want a lot of money for them for some reason. Don't pay it. They're out there.
Yeah, it's hard to find those odd-sized books sometimes, like in the true wild,
Yeah.
Because if they don't fit in a box right, they just kind of throw them around, and they're harder to find in the shop, I find. Here's another reason. Like here's an odd representation of these things too. We have the classic X-Men, right? So I have a short run of these, and this reprints Uncanny X-Men books, basically starting with the new team.
Yeah.
And the idea behind this was that they went back, so it doesn't just reprint the original story that was featured in those books, but they also put a little bit there's new art and new story in the beginning and the end of the books that kind of add more to the story. So they kind of embellish the story a little bit on the beginning and the end of these books. And I have to say, for that reason, I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think that's the cool aspect of those, because they're not just straight up reprints. They sort of have a reprint, and then they add a little of their own flavor to it.
Hey.
And I think that's what makes those, if there is a reason, collectible and cool to get, is because of that for me.
I like the concept, but the execution was poor, because they kind of give away too much. Like in the very first issue, they lead hint that, you know, Jean Grey already likes Wolverine. It's like she just met him like a day ago, and she's already pining for him in front of a tree. It kind of gets a little ridiculous. They try and foreshadow events a little too much, like they're forcing it in, and it changes the way the story develops.
I think part of what they were trying to do, I mean, these came out at the, I don't want to say the height, but, you know, when I was collecting comics and back in the 80s, X-Men was more popular. People think X-Men's hot right now. Man, in the 80s, it was off the hook. I mean, it was like the most popular thing. They had multiple different X storylines and story arcs and crossovers and titles and everything. And so they wanted to add another one. And I don't think that was just a money grab. I think they just wanted to have sort of like a more, something they could put out that would sort of fleshed it out a little more in sort of a different flavor. And I think they were trying to make that sort of an original, sort of like director's cut version of the X-Men, is sort of how I always felt about them. And yeah, there's nothing super collectible, because there's not like, you know, first appearances. It's mostly reprint with some extra stuff in there, but it's really cool. I think they're cool because of that.
Well, they got the Art Adams covers on them. So I had originally bought them because I was looking for stories, you know, but then I didn't like the treatment of the stories. So the Art Adams covers are good. And then the back covers, the John Bolton run on these are fantastic. Just super awesome. This one I was lucky enough to get signed by Bolton at a con.
Oh, nice.
And he's a Brit, so rare to see him across the pond. And great to get some. I got as many as I had at the time signed by him. Real super nice guy, and I love these back covers. And actually, in my collection, that's how I display these books. So if you go through my comic cabinet, all the classics are displayed like this in a row. I put them all backwards, and boy, do they look nice thumbing through. They're just such cool, like print style stuff, you know. And so they definitely have a lot of value to them, just in the presentation of the material. They really did a nice job. But I didn't care for the writing of the story too much. The art's actually pretty decent that they added, but the writing is a little rough. But really enjoy everything else about it. Very cool.
I give them an A for at least trying to give you something a little different than just a straight reprint, though. You know, I think the concept is a good idea, and the new covers, you know, you're getting at least something. Like when you buy most Marvel superheroes or Marvel triple actions, you know, you sometimes get a new cover, and it's sometimes substandard, and then you get a reprint, and then they usually take out like a page or two of the original. So you're not even getting the full reprint. So I thought that was just, you know, just not cool. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. I hear you.
People complain nowadays. I don't know if this has always been the case, but I know nowadays people like the facsimiles, the reprints, stuff like that. But people want exact, identical reprints, same cover. They don't want a UPC blocking out the guy running away from one. Like, I get that. Yeah, you want something as close to the original as possible because you don't have the original. But I like reprints that have their own flavor, that have a different cover. Or, you know, like there's that one reprint I really like. It has Hulk 180 and Hulk 181 in it, and it's got a totally different cover on it. And people don't like it because it's a different cover. And it's super cool, though. You get 2 books in it. It's got a sort of original cover. I like when reprints sort of add their own little unique flavor, and it makes it a book that can sort of stand on its own in a way. There's something to be said for that, and I don't think enough people appreciate it. They just want a reprint that's identical. And, you know, I mean, that's cool, too.
Yeah, I mean, I is that the Hulk versus Wolverine?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bob probably has that somewhere.
Yeah, I got it somewhere. I'm looking for it.
Yeah, I like it. It's got a cool. It's a cool cover. It's different. And you know, if you didn't know any better, you would see that book. You wouldn't even know it's a reprint. And I think that's what's cool is that it sort of stands on its own. It has its own character. I mean, you get the classic X-Men, same thing. It sort of has its own flavor.
Right.
It's sort of like a director's cut. I feel like little extra stuff added in.
And that one has an extra. I think you mentioned that an extra benefit in that you got the whole story in one shot there. You know, you got 180 and 181. And
yeah, I like that. A lot of foreigners do that, especially like in Germany. They'll combine multiple issues of an American title into one really thick sort of comic book. And the original cover, change the color scheme on it, and it's cool. It makes it more collectible. Yeah, I like that. It's a different. That's like an original cover to that.
And it also has. It's a wraparound cover.
Wraparound, yeah.
There's several things. I have one of these hanging in my office at work. Hashtag is your insurance agent as cool? I doubt it.
Doubt it. Oh, maybe Silver Age Dave, but otherwise no.
Yeah, that's awesome. Man. Look at that. That's super. That's worth buying just for that.
Yeah. So I got 2 copies of this book. One, this is my reader copy that I beat around, but the other thing that's really cool about this book, and I'll try to find it quickly, is that it's, to my knowledge, it's the only time that both the last panel for 180 and the splash page for 181 appear side by side in a printing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So I have this framed at my office like this, spread open and framed just to show that. And it's just
so you have
that's just an awesome.
They took the covers out, so it's just the stories, and then they have an original cover for that. So it's like its own sort of book with a full double length, full on story where there's not really a break for the covers.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're reading one big issue. Yeah, I think it's cool.
I love that. It's one of my favorite reprints. All right, now you know Roger is just chomping at the bit here. He's got 17 more reprints he's got to get in through the next 15 minutes. Let's hear it, Roger.
Actually, I only have 6.
Oh my gosh, slacking.
Well, you know, I could bring out a bunch of stuff, but you know, I try to stick to the theme and my rationale behind what I'm showing here. So, okay. So another reason why I have reprints is that often in titles, they would throw in a reprint. And you know me, OCD, DS will know about this, right? OCD completist, right? He may be OCD in other ways. I'm an OCD completist, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, you know, I'm here. I'm buying these off the stand here. I got the nice Golem story going here. Well, maybe not nice. And then you got boom, this. All right. And it's obviously it's one of those 50s monster reprints, which is cool. But I was like, hey, where's the Golem in here? You know? Well, you got to wait until the following.
Oh, that's baloney.
To see the resolution of the story here. So
that's baloney.
You know, so that is why I like some people may have skipped that issue altogether because it's inconsequential to the story. Absolutely nothing in there, right? But to me, you know, the numbering 174, boom, 175. So I gotta have it. You know,
that's cheating, though.
Yeah, that's cheating. But Marvel did that quite a bit. Here's another instance where I have it's the same thing, right? The dreaded Deadline Doom 75, you know, ends kind of in a cliffhanger, as I recall. And then you got 76, and it's a reprint from the Hulk. There's a like the classic X-Men. There's a little framing kind of page, right, to try to bamboozle you, right, into thinking, oh, this is new. No, it's 90% reprint. So, boo, right? All right. And then, of course, you know about these guys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, these were reprinted ad nauseum, or I don't know. Would you call it a reprint, or would you call it a separate edition?
I would call them multiple editions.
Okay. All right. But the, you know, it's semantics, right? But
yeah,
the, you know, form over substance. They would have an original comic and they would reprint it exactly except for the back cover, you know, with the highest resolution number, which had the the different other comics that were in Classics Illustrated, and that's how you could tell, which one you have. You could tell also by the price and the trade dress and things like that.
Yeah.
But you have to be a super expert to be able to know, oh, this is that edition.
That's true.
But when I was collecting these things, I really didn't care which edition it was. If it was H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, I got it. If it was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Jules Verne, I got it. I don't care which edition it was.
Yeah, and for Classics Illustrated, look, there's for the most part Golden Age, although it had a really long run and there's tons of issues, and they reprint so many great classics.
15 copies of every book.
Yeah, but I mean, they're comic versions of classics. I think some people make the mistake of looking at those as like collectibles. They want high grades. They want first edition. That's not the point of those. The point of those is to read a cool old comic version of a classic. And they have all the classics, like the classic stories, the classic books, classic fairy tales, all that stuff in comic form. And they're super cool to read. They're not very collectible. They're not. Some people collect them and they're worth collecting, but you don't need to get the first edition. You don't need to get high grade. That's not the point of those. And they are, you do need a little bit of experience to learn how to determine what printing stuff is. It's not easy. If you look on the back, you can see they basically on the back will show you the index of issues, and you can match up from that. You can see what's already been printed in the past is on that back cover, and you can match it up to what this one is to see if this is been printed in the past or how new it is or whatever. And it's the highest reference number, I think, is HR number. Right. And that's how you can tell if that's a first print or not. Otherwise, you just know some of the bigger ones, like the Frankenstein is in 1945 is the first print. And you can see the dates on them. But it's a whole other world, those Classics Illustrated. There's so many, and they're cool. Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, very neat. I like them too.
So yeah, I guess my point is, no matter what printing it is, DS, I think, explained it perfectly, right? These are not, at least, I can't speak for everyone, but to me, it's just that, when you're a kid and you've read these books, Wizard of Oz, King Solomon's Mines, etc., and then you see it in comic form, it's like, the skies are parting, actually my love of comics has actually broken through in literature, kind of thing.
Yeah, and a lot of those stories, I mean, most of them are from books or short stories or novellas from way back that didn't have pictures. So they got an artist to draw pictures sort of from scratch based on the story. Like the book was the script, and then they're like, all right, do panels and turn this into art. And it's really the best thing about those for me is to see how the artist fleshed out the book into pictures, because he's just going off the book. And these are just hardcover books, basically, or short stories by famous authors for the most part. And the artist is just sort of doing his own thing to tell it in picture format. And that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, agreed. And what you said there is exactly right. I mean, to me, some people are visual learners, some people auditory, some people experiential. But to me, I could read, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but I wanted to see what that Nautilus looked like,
Yeah.
And this is the first time that I saw it is in the Classics Illustrated. So it was kind of a revelatory kind of experience when you actually see that, and your love for science fiction, but you don't have a clear visual. You have your imagination, of course, which is run wild. But to see somebody's vision of it and to see compared to what you thought it was, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, there are some pretty well-known artists that did covers and interior stuff on some of the Classics Illustrated. They had a lot of different artists work on Classics Illustrated over the years, and it's quality art inside. It's not chump book. They're not super collectible just because they're not, I don't know. They don't sort of fit in comicdom. They're not like original comic things. They're just reprinting of books.
Yeah,
they're cool.
It belongs in a museum.
Yeah.
How do you?
Here's a version of you got those Marvel Legends reprints. The ones that came inside the, and I tell you, good luck finding a copy this clean. Shoo! That is hard to do. But these Marvel Legends reprints came in with action figures, and they have that black border around them, say not for resale. And they're pretty cool reprints. And they also, because like DS had said about the Marvel Masterpieces, difficult to get in high grade because these came in blister packs with figures. So a lot of them were, damaged from the way that they were presented for sale as an action figure. So plus just getting the packaging open without damaging the comic was tough enough. So there's another version of that. This one I'll show just because they have these Comic Fest versions, these Halloween Comic Fest. It's kind of like a comic book day kind of version with with Halloween. But the reason, and over the years, I've got rid of all of the ones that I had except for this one. And the reason that I keep this one around, because here is the original Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars.
I know why.
Go ahead, Roger. Tell us why.
I know why. There's it's that page right where the color is it's miscolored.
Yes.
Right.
Where Galactus is blue, but it's not just that. It's the whole book is miscolored, and it just shows up on that page. Probably in some runs, it shows up worse than others, depending on how miscolored it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the whole cover even is miscolored. Look at the Thing here versus here. Look at Wolverine with all that extra bright crap all over his face, and then look how it should look. I mean, it's a huge difference between the coloring of these two books.
I never noticed that before.
Yes, look at Captain America's face color, very unnatural. He looks like, what was that, George, what was that guy who spends his whole life in the tanning bed? I forget his name. And then look at that, the more natural color there. So, I mean, the whole book, look at Cyclops' beam is orange, and his suit's purple, and it should be red and blue.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole book is miscolored, and it's all throughout, including the splash page, everything. It's just horribly miscolored. And so it actually makes it difficult, in my opinion, to appreciate it. So I like the Comic Fest version because it's clean and it's colored properly. So there's another reason to get that.
Yeah, I have the Comic Fest one too. So I'll compare it. That's interesting. I just thought it was the page, but I'll compare it.
No, yeah, I think that page. There's some. I talked with Reggie Simmons from Reggie Collects. Pretty much everybody knows him.
Yeah.
Way back in the day about this issue, and I think I brought it to his attention, and he did a video on it at some point. But there's some dispute as to whether it's Galactus in there. Is he miscolored, or is it because the light from that scene is shining on him and illuminating him in such a way that it's meant to look like that? And if you see that panel, which I can't remember off the top of my head, it does make sense. So I don't know, but it's.
But if that's the case, why would they correct it?
Huh?
If that was the case, why would they correct it in the reprint?
I know, that's what I'm saying. There's two different colorings for him. So
to me,
on this art, I've never heard a definitive answer on it. It's an interesting issue.
I mean, to me, I thought that was all a bunch of bunk, because when I look at it, I see the whole book is miscolored, and there's a certain color of the magenta that's off.
Yeah,
and
but crack one of those open and show the panel, and then
in that panel, in the panel that you're referring to, he is. I agree. I think that he is colored differently for the light that he's experiencing. However, when they redid the coloring all along, it automatically fixed it. I don't think that they intentionally went back and changed the color of just him. See, like for instance, okay, here's a great example. Splash page. Look at the color of the Thing. He looks almost the same color as Spidey right there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks terrible. First of all, you can tell that it's something wrong with it. Like it looks damaged, And now let's crack open the reprint.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, but I just hear I've never gotten.
Look at that.
Oh yeah, that's way better.
And this is yellow instead of orange. In the original, it's orange, but it's not meant to be. It's meant to be yellow, but it comes out as orange. So they didn't go through and fix everything. So here you have purple, and this is the original, right? So here you have purple and pink, right?
Night. Yeah, yeah.
Blue and pink. And then let's see what the Galactus panel. I think it's about 3/4 of the way through. We're almost there.
And here. I think DS had already found an original that had the right coloring too. So
they're not originals. They were 3-packs. They were done on a different print run.
No, yeah, that's what I thought it was, but no, it was an original. Apparently, a few did sneak through that were.
Hey, they may have fixed it. They may have corrected it on the fly.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, everyone is miscolored here, and I do think he is more or less meant to be blue there. So let's look at the original. That is the original. Let's look at the reprint, which is very different, of course.
It's both those pages, right, Bub?
So that's the reprint.
It's that whole centerfold, or is that a centerfold? No.
Right, but see what they did here with the other characters, and that's more similar to what they did there. But look at the color difference on this. I mean, that's not even
close. Yeah,
not even close.
Yeah, yeah. Look at Thunderball down there. I mean, that's totally different color scheme there.
Yeah, it's weird, man. That is definitely strange, and it's hard. Sometimes you can tell, like on, like First Cable or like Hulk 181. Sometimes you get a copy that's really red, and sometimes you get a copy that's more orange. It's definitely more prevalent on New Mutants 87 because they have red and they have orange, and a lot of it's just the ink they use, and they go through a lot of ink, and when they reload it, it might be a slightly different tint, and then towards the end of the run, the ink gets lighter and it runs out, and that can account for things, and it's easy to tell sort of if something is a print early in the print run. If it has really rich colors, it's probably early in that print run when they just loaded the ink and it was still coming out nice. And then some are sort of washed out. They're not faded from the sun. It's just the ink is getting towards the end of the print run before they reload it and do another run. And you can tell, but that I can't wrap my head around some type of printing ink issue that would cause that, because it's not even like the colors are lighter. They're totally different for those pieces.
Yeah, it looks like the magenta is like totally missing there.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. Maybe they put colors into the wrong tubes or something. I mean, but it's 4-color stuff, so maybe the programming of the printing was off or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Like a similar thing happened to Fantastic Four 110 cover, where you have where it's missing one of the 4 colors, and
that one I think I could think the ink ran out on one of the tubes.
Yep.
And they ran a bunch still off before they changed it.
But the colorists are also very known to not pay attention from one page to the next what they've done. So here's an example. Now we're getting off topic, but here's an example.
Wouldn't be the first time.
I know. So this is Strange Tales number 167. Of course, signed by Steranko, because why wouldn't you, right? And it's also got a pen stamp on it. So this is one of my favorite, like,
cool,
quirky collection type books, right?
I like the pen stamp better than the signature.
I appreciate that, Roger. So the reason I pull this one out, and talk amongst yourselves if you get bored, but there is a Nick Fury page in here, and this comic has a distinction of being the first 4-page spread in comics. Okay, so this is the first time that 4 separate pages were used to create a scene. So the first 2 pages are here, and then the second 2 pages are here, but it actually is a continuous scene. You see this guy's arm over here, and there's his hand.
Oh, wow.
So it's the first time ever done in comics. Steranko thought of it, and he implemented it. But my point in this is that each page, as you guys, any original art collectors out there know, I think Kavi might still be in the house too, each page is sent separately to the colorist, okay? So often there are discrepancies between the 2 pages. So here in the very first 2 pages of the book, right? Because this is, you just have that splash page and then it goes right into this. You have color continuity here. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. And then right here, this floor is a different color from this floor. And you can see that they're meant to be the same floor. The line goes across. It continues across here. This should be brown or tan, or that should be gray. One or the other. But and they're right next to each other, right? I mean, it's so obvious that that's the same floor. And yet that turned gray. And then similarly, when it comes back over here, let's see, there was one, the steps, green. I think we're good on that one. And then here it changes again. So here, this page is yellow, and the floor is all yellow, and then it switches to like a golden color here. See that?
Yeah.
See the color difference?
Yeah.
Here, the background is yellow, or these little odd things here, which is, here's the only piece of the background you have in this panel is yellow. So they kept the color continuity there. And this page, they're pink. So the background has changed from yellow to pink. So, and we're not trying to get, too crazy here, but the point is that when these pages get sent in with that one page that just has Galactus on it, basically, it's very easy for the coloring on that one panel to not be, or that one page to not be anything continuous with the page before it or the page after it. That's not an anomaly. That happens.
Yeah, for that Galactus, though, it's hard for me to believe that the colorist, whoever was the colorist on that, didn't know what color Galactus was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's the colorist for the whole book, and Galactus is a massive character. I'm sure that colorist has drawn numerous images of him prior in that same book. And, I mean, colorist for Marvel knew who Galactus is and what he looked like. And then all of a sudden, the colorist doesn't know how to color Galactus. That doesn't I don't know, man. It's just weird.
Look at it. Bill's giving us a hard time. All right, back on topic. Here's another reprint because it's a book that I hope to have someday, but then until about 6 months ago, I feel like some of my bigger reaching grails are now even further reaching grails. Although, funny, but by the same token, this book is now more in my reach than it ever has been, because I have a multitude of books that raised in value so much over the last year that I could now sell those and acquire this book by selling fewer of those books than I would have had to, say, a year ago to acquire this book. So that's interesting too. But, but there you go. Sometimes I just get a reprint because it's a book that I probably won't ever have anytime soon. So I get a reprint to kind of hold me over, even though it doesn't scratch the itch at all. But it just reminds me when I see it that, you know what, I need to think about getting that book again. So there you go.
And I had that exact reprint. I've read that story. I do want Hulk 1 because it's sort of based on Frankenstein. It's an early Silver Age, good investment, and has a horror sort of tie-in. But I think that is a really good story. I like that story.
I do too.
It's not goofy like X-Men 1 or something. I mean, do you know what I mean? Some of those Silver Age Marvel books are kind of goofy, and that one's a serious story. I really dig that one. That's probably my favorite one that I've read of the Silver Age first appearances.
I have to say, I like it, and I like Fantastic Four 1, and a lot of people don't like the story in Fantastic Four 1, but if you're reading a lot of the other Silver Age stuff prior to that, and if you're reading a lot, especially on DC side, and if you're looking at anything that's Golden Age 2, that really was a very unique story and a different way to tell a story.
And it also has monster elements, the FF1. So
yeah, and I like in the original, I don't think people realized he didn't turn into the Hulk when he got angry. He turns into the Hulk at night.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, it's like a Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and
werewolf.
The old werewolf on the full moon. It's like an amalgamation of all of those, and that was the original Hulk, and it's really cool. It's not like he gets mad and turns green. He wasn't even green anyway, but
he was gray, I think.
Yeah, and it was at night. He turned into it at night when it got dark. Is when he would turn into the Hulk.
Yeah,
and it's a serious story. It's not like action packed. I mean, there's some action, but that would make a really good movie if they didn't do the what is that, Ang Lee or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, just do a Hulk, do like a Christopher Nolan sort of serious version of that story. I think it would be awesome on the big screen.
I think so too. Look at Comic Mag Musings talking directly to Roger here.
Oh man, I tell you, I can't not live down that human fly. but today, I text him an auction that had a comic with a bonnet stamp on it, and it happened to be the Fly from Harvey, right? From Archie, and he's like, "Oh, I thought you only were interested in human fly." Oh, great Scott!
Hey, I got an answer for Brett Bottomley's question.
Yes, Brett. I mean, I don't really get that because I thought a lot of the Golden Age stuff, other than the DC properties and of course the Marvel properties, were largely in public domain.
Yeah, most of them are public domain, so there's nothing illegal about reprinting them. You can do whatever you want with some of those old Golden Age funky things, but there's a market for those, and I think they're really cool. There's a couple guys out there, you always see them on eBay, and they just do like decent quality full reprints of Golden Age Grail books, and they're cool because those books are not like important characters where no company does reprints of those because they're just sort of little one-off weird sort of grails, and they're super hard to find. They're super expensive. And if you just want a copy to read or display, yeah, those reprints are cool. There's a lot of like the Silver Streaks and the Chesslers, the MLJ stuff, the rare stuff that's not going to be reprinted otherwise. There's guys out there that are making a living reprinting those from digital images and making a cover and making a sort of reprint book. And it's really the only way to get those. And that's why there's demand for those. And they do sell. I mean, there's a guy who has like a Suspense 3. That's a pretty big grail. A Silver Streak 1. I mean, some of these big books, they don't really have. I mean, Silver Streaks have reprints, but yeah, I think they're cool and people buy them. And they're not illegal because most of those properties are public domain and those companies are out of business and you can do whatever you want with them.
Yeah, it's really something. I've thought about picking up several of them, but I decided to wait, especially for my Planet Comics, because they're really too brittle to read and better to have them, in a readable copy and then slab these. But I kind of was holding off because I like the collected edition works. So nice hard copies.
Yeah.
With those on them. I think Thomas did a set of them. Roy Thomas, I think, did a set of them that I really like. And so I've kind of been waiting, and I'm going to start picking up those. I'm not spending any money on them now. I'm waiting until I get all my slabs turned in and have a collection more complete. Then I'm going to start picking up those.
I think PS Art Books might have done a full hardcover reprint of the Planet Comics too. They're really nice.
Yeah, they're really nice too. They're more expensive, and you get less stories per though.
Yeah, but they're slipcase, they're hardcovers, they're quality. They're not. I have a set of those for the Pre-Code Horror series, The Thing. I have 2 hardcovers of that.
I like them, but man, they're expensive. You spend like $60-$70 and you get 3 issues inside.
Well, you buy them secondhand on eBay, they're not that expensive. I mean, if you don't need a mint condition of a hardcover book. It might have a little shelf wear, but you can find those on eBay. Just save a search for those, and you can find people that are just moving old books, and they'll put that on their Golden Age comics, and then you can get the hardcover secondhand for a lot cheaper.
Okay. Well, I'll look to that. I know on Amazon they're ridiculously high.
Yeah, I would just look on eBay and I would keep a saved search. They come up pretty often, and people are just moving their secondhand books, and they're pretty cheap.
All right, I'll get right on that.
They're nice quality. $20 or $30 even, I think, is worth it, but you can get them probably even cheaper per.
That's not too bad. Yeah,
I think it's good. It's quality. They're cool books. I mean, books are not cheap, but I mean, for $20 or $30 for a hardcover book of something you like, I mean, what do you go to the actual bookstore, how much the stuff costs? I mean, I figure that's how much it costs.
All right. Poor Roger has been trying to show his last 2 books for 20 minutes. Go ahead, Roger. Close us out. What do you got to show us?
No, again, sometimes reprints can actually, to me, enhance a comic. Like you were talking about the classic X-Men. It's debatable whether, you think that's a positive or a negative, but the DC 100 pagers, I think, were ones that, to me, enhanced and actually sort of opened my eyes to certain stories that I didn't know about. And you got 100 pages for 60 cents. Initially, it was 50 cents, but it went up 10 cents. So really, you got a lot of reading here for pretty much little money. You got an original story, which was generally in continuity, and then you got at least two, sometimes three reprints of related characters, from Golden or mostly Silver Age, but every once in a while Golden Age. So again, this is, in my opinion, these are the kinds of reprints done well, because they reprint it exactly, the story, and it's part of a package deal, so that you're getting the original story and you're getting a little bit of additional material for a cheaper price than if you would have bought a straight reprint, because at this point comics were 25 cents, 20 cents. So you would get, additional stories for a very little bit of more money.
I like that idea. I like all those like giant issues. Those can be good deals, and even Walmart was printing those giant size. Those were, if you're going to spend $7 or $8 on a book, you might as well get 5 or 6 stories out of it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Those were what, $5 that the Walmart was selling.
Yeah.
For? So considering that, what a regular comic costs you, what, at least $4 or $5.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And you're lucky to get 30 pages out of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, modern comics are very short. Probably, I read the new Metal Men, last year's Metal Men miniseries. I read that whole thing in like an hour. I mean, it went like lightning,
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah. Super fast, and then you got to wait a month. I really feel like the abbreviated stories and the sparse release of books really make it more effective to get trade paperbacks now than it ever has been.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Easier to read them straight through. You don't have to worry about someone trying to snag the key issue. You invest 10 books deep into a run at the local comic shop, and then book 11 is speculated to have some crazy first appearance of, Catwoman's 38th feline. And then all of a sudden, boom, you can't get your hand on that book. And you've already waited a month to continue the story, and now you got to wait even further. So,
yep. I've seen that happen to Russ a few times. All he wants to do is read the story, and sometimes he has to order them from God knows where, just to get the story filled. That's ridiculous. It should never be that tough to finish a story arc. I
agree. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we all got a little salty at the end, but we hope you don't mind the rough seas. So what do you got coming? Thank you. It's a good topic, I think, if I don't say it myself. So DS, are you going to be on them there Golden Showers tomorrow? I mean, Golden Guys?
Yeah, Golden Guys tomorrow night, Comic Core, 10 p.m. And I'm also, when I get off of here right now, going over to Big Will's channel and joining him for a live show.
What you got going on?
I can't remember the title or anything, but
good. I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just you, Bub, but yeah, go over to Big Will's Comics, and I'm going to join him here in a couple minutes right now to go live, talk about some stuff he's got going on, and then tomorrow night, 10 p.m. on Comic Core.
Nice. Roger, what have you got going on your channel and or other channels under which you'll be gracing?
I think just my channel this week, Thursday. I have, I think, a pretty interesting video, and DS Comics actually is one of the inspirations for it, from a video he made a long time ago.
Why are pants and Mylar overrated?
No. For change in the Walmart parking lot.
No, it has to do with it has to do with a very obscure aspect of comics, but check on Thursday and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I have to say, I've been enjoying the Thursday Obscura better than the Tuesday Obscura used to be.
Ah, okay.
I think I'm more ready for it on Thursday. Like, yes. Because on Tuesday, on Tuesday, I'm still trying to get through the week. I'm like, oh, what's going on, But then by Thursday, I'm like, hey, it's almost the weekend. What's weird in the comic world?
Yeah, in Area 51, if you know why I don't like Mylar for comics, you can see why I'll cringe to think about Mylar pants. My God, that's a horrible idea.
There's a girl on Instagram who wears Mylar pants.
Okay.
It's a true story. And it's a comic. It's a comic. I would post it, but I don't, whatever. But there's a girl on Instagram that wears Mylar, pretty much Mylar pants, and is a comic. It's a comic thing. So yep, there you go. Search for that.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, or I'll drop the link.
The chafing aspect alone will send fringes up my spine.
I would think so. And again, some of the other stuff she wears is, good grief. That the Mylar pants are the least of her troubles. We'll put it like that.
Okay.
Some severe, uncomfortable situations. Let's see. Yes, Roger's being very coy. Thanks, fellas. Yep.
Well, I don't have to give everything away, Tune in on Thursday. You'll see what I'm talking about. I think it's a pretty
on Thursday. You get the BUB'S comic seal of approval. Better than Tuesday.
There you go.
You're gonna love it. Me, I've got so much content that I don't even know what to do with it all. I had one of my cameras go out on me. When I say go out on me, I mean that I broke it a couple of weeks ago. So I've been kind of slapping videos together as I could, but then I'll have some more proper videos to film and to upload and everything. So I've got a back catalog. I'll be like Comic Mag Musings, posting videos every day, and my 5 o'clock shadow is in various degrees every day. One day I got a mustache. The next day he records all these videos, and he does it in such a manner that you will know before he knows what day it is. So, but anyway, I would. So I'm going to be dropping some of those. I've also got some new records in. A lot of them. So I've got some Star Trek records that I'm going to be doing. Some listen and read along records, some like Power Records type stuff, and some Superman, and I think that's it. Some Superman, a couple of different Supermans, and there's a couple of different Star Trek. So look forward to that too. Got some good stuff going on there. So that's it. That's what I got going on. So DS, what would you like to tell the fine folks at home?
Make sure you do your homework and come over to Big Will's channel.
Nice. Sounds like a plan. Because he's always here supporting us. Oh, wait. Where is he? Never mind. All right, Roger. He's been here before.
Yeah, he has been. Oh, me?
Yes.
Hello? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Great show. I really think this is a great topic. Kudos to Bub today. Usually I don't say that, but I think it sometimes.
I noticed you not saying it.
Well, I just did, right? Just did. So everybody, thanks for being here. Be blessed, be back. No matter what Bub says, we want you back here a week from today. Hopefully 3 weeks in a row, we'll be on the No Faces chat.
All right. Yes, I believe it will happen. I'm just going to tell everyone to read a comic. And let's see, this one should be the most glary. And don't apologize for the glare. We'll catch you next week on the No Faces comic chat. Bye-bye.